Hello, and welcome to We Can Work It Out, the podcast that explores the history, present, and future of workers' rights. I'm your host, Dr. Jonathan Lord, and each episode we'll be delving into the stories, struggles, and successes that have shaped working lives. From friendly societies to people management, we welcome academics, activists, trade unionists, policymakers, and workers themselves to help us understand what fair work really means in a changing world. In this episode, we join the picket line at the National Coal Mining Museum for England, where workers, supported by Unison, have been engaged in a prolonged industrial dispute. This episode is different from the usual studio discussions, so please bear with us with the sound and video recording. It was recorded on location, where we spoke directly to the workers who keep the museum running and preserve the history of Britain's coal industry. When I visited the picket line, I expected to hear about a local industrial dispute. What I encountered instead was a story about the future of heritage work, the value of public service labour, and the enduring relevance of trade union organisation in Britain. The workers I spoke to and the Unison representative were not only defending their own terms and conditions, but raising broader questions about how cultural and heritage institutions treat their staff. The museum stands on the site of the former Cap House colliery and preserves the history of Britain's coal industry as well in mining communities. For many of the workers involved in the dispute, the museum is not simply a workplace, but a living memorial to industrial labour. And the irony that a museum dedicated to mining history should itself become the site of a labour dispute was not lost on those standing on the picket line. At the museum, staff spoke passionately about educating visitors, including children, and preserving the memory of mining communities. Several workers saw the strike as consistent with the traditions represented in the museum itself. The history of British mining is inseparable from collective action and trade union organisation, most famously during the UK miners' strike of the 1980s. While the present dispute is very different in scale and context, the symbolic connections were very clear. Standing at the museum entrance, it was impossible not to reflect on the continuity of labour history. Mining communities built some of the strongest traditions of collective organisations in Britain. Today's heritage workers are not miners, but they are custodians of that history. And in this dispute, they've become participants in it. What struck me most was the seriousness with which workers approached the dispute. This was not protest for its own sake. It was a measured response to long-standing concerns about fairness and recognition. Disputes like this rarely make national headlines, yet they reveal much about contemporary working life in Britain. Heritage institutions occupy an important cultural role, but they also depend on the labour of staff whose work is often invisible. The museum strike highlights the continuing importance of collective organisation in defending working conditions. It also reminds us that labour history is not confined to archives and exhibitions. It's something that continues to be made in workplaces across the country. Visiting the picket line was a reminder that the history preserved inside the museum is still being written outside its gates. Enjoy the discussion.
So my name's Dave Scott.
Yep.
Obviously I'm a guide stroke fitter at Mining Museum. And I've worked here nearly 9 years. Previous to that, I worked in coal industry, worked at a colliery called Glassalton, which is in Castleford. Started there in 77. And I was an apprentice fitter, become a fitter. I worked there for 10 years.
What type of work did you do as a fitter then?
Fitter, so just mending machinery and maintaining machinery and checks and things like that.
Right.
Then after Glassalton, I went to Selby Coalfield after Glassalton short after the strike.
Wow, okay, yeah.
And I worked there 16 years, Wistow Colliery, or Wistow Mine, it was called Mine then. Then when that closed in 2004, then I transferred to Kellingley Colliery, there till that closed in 2015. So roughly 39 years working in mining industry.
When they shut the mines down, did they tell you why?
They do tell us why. Must they tell us why, yeah, because obviously we had the big strike, didn't we? So we did 12 months on strike, fighting for quick closure and fighting for mining communities, basically.
So that was the 84-85 strike?
84-85,
Can you tell us more about that? Because that's it's one of the longest running strikes.
Yeah.
That we've ever seen.
So I was 24 when that strike started. And obviously it was over quick closures. So that went for 12 months, and obviously we lost that one, didn't we? And that's it. That one started demise of mine industry and demise of our communities. That's what we'll fight for.
Can I ask you about going back to work? Did you agree with that or not?
Going back to work at End at Strike?
Yeah.
No, to be quite honest, I was only 24, like I said, and I didn't really want to go back defeated.
Yeah.
But obviously, we were defeated, weren't we, whether we liked it or not. So it wasn't it was a bad thing and not a nice thing to do, to go back defeated.
And how did you cope with 12 months? Because I presume you didn't get paid.
No, we didn't get paid whatsoever, no strike pay or not like that. Just, now I was single at times, so it was a bit easier for me. Well, these people who were married with children, they suffered a lot more than I did, but I got no money. My parents supported me.
Right.
We got odd things from council, odd food parcel, things like that. But, 12 months, long time.
Must be hard, that, for 12 months. Quite psychologically as well.
Yeah, it was. But at time, 24, I didn't really realise what it were all. I didn't realise what it were all about, but I used to go flying picketing, they used to call it. It was good at Nottingham, and I didn't even know them places existed, to be fair. Now, I can tell you about where all pits were and everything, but at the time I didn't. We used to get in them cars and go off to Lancashire, Bickershaw and Lee, and picketing here, Nottingham, power stations, steelworks, picketing all over, really.
Did you get involved in any police skirmishes and stuff like that?
Yeah, I got arrested once.
Right.
Got done for, what did they do me for? Resisting arrest and obstruction of highway. That happened at North Selby. We were picketing there. Some contractors were trying to go cross picket lines to go to work. And police come, July it was, 84, and they got arrested for that, yeah. And ended up at Crown Court in York. Locked us up all day.
In Crown Court?
Crown Court, because handcuffed us all together, about 12 of us.
Right.
We had to come up into old-fashioned courtroom there.
Right.
Treated us like we were bloody murderers, to be fair. And then what we did, GLC from London, they sponsored us. They sent a barrister up to Selby to represent us.
Yeah.
And he said...
Great London Council?
Correct,
yeah.
So this barrister used to meet us every morning, come on train, meet us, and he told us that we'd get done because he was a conservative magistrates. That's where it first went to, Magistrates Court. And he made us represent ourselves, a thing called Mackenzie's Friend. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Yeah.
We had to represent ourselves.
Yes, I've heard of that. Yeah,
and the idea was just to block the courts up. And clerk at court, he was very annoyed about it. So he told us what to say, and we had to say it in court itself. And it got thrown out, and that's why it ended up at Crown Court. Now, I think we got fined 500 quid.
But each?
Yeah. And you had to pay that, and when the strike finished.
It's a lot of money, that, isn't
it? And then we were bound over not to picket. We could only picket his own place of work. So if we went picketing elsewhere, flying picketing your door, I suppose you'd get locked up or find some more, I don't know.
Yeah, because they stopped flying pickets, didn't they?
Yeah. But this were in July, like I say, so there were not many people. You didn't have to picket your own pit, to be fair, because there was nobody going back to work, going to other areas where there were crossing picket lines. So them Knotsmen who all worked, I suppose that was why we lost strike in a way.
So when did you start working at the National Coal Mining Museum then?
So like I say, Kellingley closed in 2015, that was last deep mining country, wasn't it? I just made my mind up how old were I then? Maybe 54, something like that. I decided, finished, I wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
I did a few months. I ended up going to a Maltby colliery, stripping machinery down and selling it to China, basically.
Really, yeah.
I did a few months there. I went to Harworth Colliery in Nottingham to fill their shafts in, working with a contract for
Right.
it. And then somebody said, do you fancy coming here? Come here, and quite enjoyed coming here, looking, I like doing fitting work and guiding. I don't do a lot of guiding, to be fair. I look after the train. There's a train what runs here. Do shaft exams, things like that, keeping it going, plus guiding as well.
Did you know a lot of when you said you took machinery down then and went to China, did you know that was happening a lot? Or?
Yeah, we did, yeah. So we used to strip it down into smaller pieces.
Yeah.
We had to clean it with power jets to make sure there were no vegetation on it or all like that, because it was getting took to China.
Yeah.
And we put it into containers. Some Chinese people who were buying it, they come and bought it, and they'd be working in China now, I should imagine, cutting coal there.
Well, they've got an increase, haven't they, in coal?
Yeah, they just mine.
Yeah,
they keep mining, don't they, Chinese?
Yeah, they keep building more and more coal power plants.
And then a lot of chocks, what were going, roof supports. We had to dismantle them, cut them into bits, and they ended up going to Scunthorpe Steelworks, melted them down. Talking millions of pounds worth of machinery.
Yeah.
Just all gone to waste.
So can you tell us what the background is to this industrial action then? please?
Well, it's basically about money. We wanted more money. We think we're worth more than minimum wage. So like I say, a lot of us do responsible jobs. We're signing to say that shaft's safe for public to travel it, shaft. Make sure trains are right, and we don't think we're getting paid. A fitter or an electrician on outside, you'd get a lot more than what we get. And that ain't main one for me. Main one for me is for future at museum. We've got apprentices here with 2 apprentice electricians, 2 apprentice fitters. And I don't think they'll stop at industry, stop working for mining museum once they get older and get married and start, with their families.
Yeah.
That money won't be good enough, so they'll just leave. So
Yeah,
for me, we should get paid a better rate. And I think it'd help museum. I think long term.
Well, can I ask you how much they've not in monetary terms, but percentage-wise, how much they've offered you? Or
we asked for £1 an hour increase, Glenn, didn't we? £1 an hour.
50 was our original plan. Then they asked for £1.
Yeah.
right, okay, right,
So that's what we're talking about.
right,
Mm,
an hour.
an hour, yeah.
Right.
And what did they offer? 80 pence, was it?
Right.
So we aren't going into detail, that's what first offer was. They said, the management said that £1 would be okay, they were happy with that, and they were going to pass it back to trustees, and it come back that trustees knocked it back.
Yeah.
So that's why we stood here. Been stood here now, we're in a 7th month.
7 months, I know, yeah.
Seems daft, doesn't it? But like I said, it didn't totally for money for me, it's for future of place.
Yeah.
And if we compare ourselves with Big Pit in Wales, they're craftsmen there and their guys, they're on a proper wage. So I don't see why we're any different to them.
So just in terms of your job then, so are you kind of reenacting what used to happen and people to come and then access it and know what's going on? Or
What do you mean by that? I'm not sure.
because you were saying that there's still people being trained up in trades.
Right.
So are they actually working there doing some of the mining work that you did previously, or is it all just the museum work that's
Well, obviously it's still a mine, isn't it? It's still underground. It's an 140 metre shaft where we
Yeah.
have to go down and people have to travel. So we've got rules and regulations we've got to adhere to, Mines and Quarries Act. So every day, we do cappling. So we do end a rope, couple it with what attaches it to the cage. So we have to do all that. We've got to examine that shaft once a day. I worked at Mines and Quarries Act, basically. We've got to sign all the mines and type of work we do. If you're a fitter or electrician.
Because I don't think people realise it. Because I think people, when they see a museum, they probably think it's just a above ground museum where they go walk around.
They do, yeah.
But then if they have to reenact, I call it reenacting, but if you kind of simulating a real world experience, then you have to still
Only
operate.
difference with this place, it's only shallow, 140 metres where we've been working. We've been working, 800 metres.
Yeah.
But 140 is still deep enough. It'll still
Yeah.
do some damage if you fall down there.
And do school kids and other children go down there?
Yeah, children go down. They've got to be 5-year-old to go down. We take them down. So we take, parties of kids every day. There's 2 buses here now today. These have coming to go down, but they won't be able to go down mine, so they're just looking at surface.
So they've not got enough staff to operate it properly. Then
Well,
the
it's
museum?
not, like I say, I think there's 45 of us on strike. So that's a mixture of guides, fitters, electricians. There's an housekeeper on strike, few cleaners, but majority it's guides. So obviously the underground's not happening, close sort of thing. And that's another danger. 6 months we know be going down there maintaining it. It's in danger of deteriorating. So even if and when we do go back, there's a lot of work to be done to get it back and up and running. Which is sad, really, isn't it? It's
it is very sad because, like you said, it's got a lot of history, and you're protecting that history as well.
That's right, yeah. Some of these kids come here, they're not even know what coal is. And it's on their curriculum now, isn't it? That's part of their education. So, we get loads of schools coming.
Yeah, good. They should do.
But they shouldn't be coming now. They're crossing picket lines.
Yeah, I know they are. Yeah, I know. It must be difficult seeing that because
It's awful, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not, I don't want to stop kids from coming. We don't want to do that. But if they want to come, it's up to them, innit?
So do you think it'll get resolved one way or another, or?
Well, I'm hoping so. It's got to do at some point, hasn't it? But for me, we should be getting around that table and discussing with our union, but they don't seem to want to do that. The management is in their trench and we're in our trench, and nobody seems to want to get out to resolve it. For me, they should be negotiating as much as they can, and surely there's a way to... we seem to have a lot of public support. politically with council, we've had a lot of support from everybody apart from the management here. And then we've got quite a lot of volunteers who are they're all working and, well, they're coming in and working and trying to keep the place going. And that's another reason I'm a bit worried about it. It seems to be turning into, it's all about art and that type of thing, you know. It seems to be going away from mining.
Yeah.
All events they're putting on, to me, it's not to do with mining. It's all other things, and which I don't think that's a good thing.
Like a distraction away from what
That's
the
right.
place is
I think
about.
they're just trying to get numbers in to say that they can work and
Yeah,
everything's
yeah.
all right, but
Yeah.
we all know it isn't.
Do you know whether they're struggling financially or not?
We don't know. We just
Intimation
know
for
they're
that.
spending a lot of money. You know, the security guards on. They're on now, so that costs money, doesn't it? Doing out gardens. Other jobs they used to do, we at guides, they do all maintaining a site, do gardening. We do anything, don't we? From emptying bins to whatever needs doing, we do. But there we go.
My name's Glenn Bryan, and I've been at the museum 15 years now. And I'm a tour guide, drive forklift, and drive the underground train on the surface. I know that's a contradiction, but that's what I do.
Okay. And did you used to work in the mining industry?
I did. I started in the mining industry in 1976 at Nostell Colliery. It closed in 87, and I moved to Selby to Rickall until 2004. And then I came out of the industry and went fitting gas boilers for a living. I used to deal with the gas down the mine. That was my job, drilling and getting gas out of the mine to keep the place safe and make it so we could all work down there.
That's a dangerous job, isn't it? Working with sorting the gas out.
Yeah, every mining job was dangerous, but
Yeah.
it had its particular dangers, yeah. But you learned how to overcome them.
Why did you go into the mining industry then?
Followed my dad, followed my granddad, my uncles. It was just what you did back in those days, really. You know, your interview was sorted out for you. You went and did the interview, and then you got a job, and that was it. But back in those days, we used to get set on by the bus full, 52 at a time. A bit different to today. Very different to today.
So you remember the NUM as well, National Union of Miners?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Well, you had to join it. It was a closed shop. You had to
Right.
be in the union. You had to be in the pension. If you wanted a job, you had to be in everything. So, yeah, I went through the big strike. Very similar age to Dave. I was 24. To be honest, I had it as easy as you probably could. I lived at home. My dad were a miner and the new position I was in, so there was nobody chasing me for money. I weren't married. Didn't have any children at that time, so I had 84, 85. For me, was probably as easy as it could be for anyone. So I mean, it was hard, but it was easier for me than it was for a lot more.
And were you determined not to kind of give in as well?
I wouldn't have gone back.
Yeah.
My family had disowned me. So it was my family and my friends that got me through it, and my girlfriend at the time, who was now my wife. So yeah, I had it as easy as you could have it, I suppose.
Joining the museum then, it's kind of an extension of what you did as a job, isn't it?
Yeah. Everything sort of clicked into place. I became eligible for my pension at 50. I only live at the bottom of the road here, 2 miles away. A job came up here. I was fed up of belting up and down the country in a transit van, working in the gas industry. So I came here, and I've been here ever since. And I'd like to hand it on to future generations, but it might be getting taken out of his hands, that way it's looking, way it seems. But that's what I'd like to do. I'd like to pass it on, because it's a nice place, but we can't be belittled anymore. You know, they're paying us less than minimum wage, because we get what they call a plusage on our wages. And if you take the plusage off, we are below the minimum wage. And that's ridiculous. It's for people that sign in for things, people that are driving machines with the public on. They should pay for what we do. They seem to pay themselves plenty. You know, if they get a nice job hanging pictures up at £40 an hour, which is the latest one that's been advertised, 15 grand for 50 shifts over a 9-month period, it breaks down at £300 a shift. 7.5 hours, it's £40 an hour. And wage you 12 quid.
What job was that for then?
It's something to do with hanging pictures up. Curator of the
Oh, right, okay.
powerhouse, isn't it?
Right.
Which we used to do. One of our lads used to do. They're made redundant. So, it's like jobs for the boys and girls. As long as you've got the right, well, I don't know if it'd be a school tie, but if you've got the right connections type of thing.
What's it like to work in the museum?
It used to be playing out. It was like being at school. It was better than being at school. It was playtime. It's changed a lot over years. Still enjoyable amongst ourselves, amongst the guys who take the trips. But there's definitely been a culture change from the top down, starting to get a bit more corporate, trying to scare people into doing this and doing that. Very heavy that we don't need.
And in terms of the resolution then, do you think it will get resolved in one way or another? And what would you see as a good resolution?
Well, the best solution is to get us back to work. I mean, if she sorted it out today, we'd be putting straight back in, because in April we should have another pay rise.
Is it the minimum wage you paid then, and it goes up when the minimum wage gets lifted up?
No, we get £12.83, but 7.5% of that is the plusage for working Saturdays, Sundays, Bank Holiday Mondays, Good Fridays. There's no time and a half, there's no double time, so it's sort of all were factored in as a one. So if you take that 7.5% off that £12.83, then you are minimum wage or just below. And that's not on. It's not on for what we do and for what we sign for and the responsibilities that we've got. When you're underground and you've got 15 people on IP, as we say, you're responsible for them 15. Should a fire break out, who they're going to look to? We're going to look at management here. Or they're going to look at me and say, how do we get out of here? Well, that's what and we want paying for it. It's all right saying, no, I've been to university and I've got a qualification. I'm worth £40,000 a year. They're not down there. And the people that come here don't come to see them. They come to see us. And that is what they don't like. And they can't change it unless they get shut of us. So is that what they're trying to do?
Well, but I would say, talking to Dave as well, you are part of the museum, like the history of coal mining and what you've experienced. You are part of that museum. That's what people come to see.
You can go to many museums, and I've been to them myself, and I've enjoyed them. But you go to Jorvik Centre, and it's not a Viking that takes you around. So you go to armories, and it ain't somebody who went crusading that takes you around. But you come here, and you talk to us who did it and lived it. And that is our unique selling point. And them in there are wanting to throw it away. That's my outlook on it.
I think they want to change how it operates.
Definitely.
Yeah.
To what? I don't know. And I don't think they know. I think the only thing that they want is such as me and Dave and all our mates. Like Dave said, we've got these 4 apprentices. I've only met 2 of them because we've been on strike since the 2 mechanical ones got set on. And we need to pass knowledge, skills, mechanicking skills. He can pass them on. Electrical skills, we've got lads who can pass them on. And just day to day being down pit, we can all pass that on for them lads. Because they're the future, not us. They're the future. And if she'd just come and talk and say, right, we've got to get from here, what we're doing now, to there, what we're going to do. Can we work together to get from here to there? But she won't. She bangs table and she says, this is how it's going to be. And truth be told, she'll be gone. Because I've been here 15 years and I've seen 5 of her come and go. 5. We've had more managers than Man United.
I'm a Man United fan, so...
Oh, well, I can't hold that against you.
I didn't tell you that beforehand, but no. So my last question then is the museum consulting with you properly or negotiating with you and your unions, or do you think they are properly or not?
No. The last meeting that they were organised by the MP, Jade Bottrell, her opening gambit was, I don't really want to be here. I don't even know why I'm here. Well, you're not going to get out-sorted with an attitude like that, are you? No. So she needs to get real and get round the table. We're not a set of bad people. We just want what's right.
Yeah.
I know she's got her problems and she's got what she wants. So let's talk about it and let's all get what we can. It's not going to get sorted out by us standing here and her sitting in there. It's going to get sorted out by getting around the table and talking about it.
Does she cross the picket line then, the chief?
Every day.
Every day, yeah.
Yeah. Grins when she does it.
Right.
Especially last week when one of the lads tried to give her a leaflet. Let's all go on £15 an hour, knock their wages down. We'll all go on £15 an hour and see if they'll come and... I mean, one of the statements was, I've got to pay my skilled staff the going rate, otherwise they'll leave.
Yeah.
Well, isn't he skilled?
Yeah.
He's a mechanic, not them in officers.
I'm Adam Temple. I'm a communications officer for Unison Wakefield District. So the workers here at the Coal Mining Museum have been members of Unison since it was taken over into what it is now, into the National Coal Mining Museum. And yeah, they've been a great set of lads. They've always been supportive of the union and kept us involved with everything. So this year, when the payoff from the museum was made, which was 5%, we had a members' meeting to discuss that. And the consensus was we wanted a flat rate pay rise.
Yeah.
Everybody from the cleaners on the lowest wages to the chief executive, they get exactly the same pay rise in monetary value. And that was kind of our sticking point. So we countered that with a £2.50 an hour offer. And in a negotiation that did take place before the strike with ACAS, the museum's management came at us with £1 an hour or 5%, whichever was a greater. So that works out for anyone below about 38 grand a year, the £1 an hour is better. Anyone over 38 grand, the 5% is better. And they said that they would take that to the Board of Trustees to get it approved, and we would take it back to our members and with a view to recommend that offer. Before we'd had a chance to have a meeting, however, we received notification from the museum that the trustees had voted against that offer, and it wasn't on the table. And then the Friday before the strike started, they came back with another offer of 80p an hour, which, I mean, it's not hard maths to know that that's 20p an hour less than they'd previously offered. It's a situation that was unusual for us, that the employer had actually just reneged on their own offer.
Do you know why the trustees voted against it then?
They claim unaffordability,
Right.
but yet they've not evidenced anything. We've asked questions of Julie Elliott, the financial officer here.
You've asked for accounts, haven't you?
We've asked for the accounts. She requested we ask some detailed questions about what we want relating to the accounts that she's still yet to respond to.
Is that the 6 questions?
Those were the six questions that we posted online. So yeah, and then since then, the offers they've been decreasing. So we started off at the £1 an hour offer. That was then reduced to the 80p. Then there was an offer for £1 an hour for craftspeople and 5% for everybody else, which would work out on an average of 72p an hour, but with the lowest paid members getting about 62p an hour pay rise. More recently, we received an offer of 84p an hour. But it also contained a clause within it that anyone who returns to work after settling the dispute will be investigated under the workplace's disciplinary proceedings. Really? And they expected us to agree that, which obviously it was a unanimous vote to reject that. And we submitted a counter offer. So they'd come up 4p an hour. So we reduced our claim by 4p an hour. We went back in at 96p. But also, as some of my colleagues have been saying, we're coming up to April, time for a new pay rise. We also submitted an offer for a year 2 pay rise that would get the lowest members of staff, or lowest paid members of staff, to about £15 an hour, which we don't think is a huge amount of money in the grand scheme of things, not when the museum's operating on a surplus, according to the books that we can get access to. So we put that offer to the museum, and then they rejected it outright, and we haven't had any negotiations since the 19th of January, I believe it was.
Right, okay.
And in terms of negotiations, the only time we've actually been in a room with ACAS and the museum was before the strike. There was another meeting that was chaired by Jade Bottrell, the MP, which was between Unison and the museum, but any other offers have been through the museum contacting ACAS, and then ACAS contacting us, vice versa. So there's been no actual negotiations take place for months.
Can we go back to that disciplinary issue that So they want to put some of the strikers through a disciplinary when they come back.
Yes. So there has been alleged that some of the behaviour on the picket line has been, enough to warrant disciplinary action. We don't believe it has. We haven't seen anything of that sort. And yeah, that's basically it. I think it's related to some of our members have liked Facebook posts about the industrial action that may have put the museum in a negative light, and they think that's worthy of disciplinary action after the strike.
So the impact on the museum, they're saying,
is negative. I mean, we don't believe that's the case, and we think it's a ludicrous position to stand for a negotiation standpoint.
Yeah.
It's beggars belief, really.
Yeah, it's strange they would do that because it's not a good negotiation
tactic,
is it really?
It's almost as though they wanted us to reject the offer.
Yeah.
Like I say, with the rejection or the withdrawal of their own offer back before the strike started, it almost seems as though the museum has orchestrated this strike for their own reasons, because as a union, we didn't push for industrial action. The members didn't have the appetite for it up until the point that the museum reneged on their own offer. And that's where we are now.
So do you see an end in sight to this or not?
I mean, I'm hoping so. Our members are stalwart. They're here every day on the picket, rain or shine. I think we've had snow on the picket as well. And yeah, we just want a fair outcome that's fair for everyone, that treats our members, whether they be the mine guides, the horse keepers, the cleaners, with respect and a fair pay rise. And that this idea of unaffordability needs to be evidenced by the museum, especially when anyone, like I said, earning over about 35, 38 grand a year is going to be benefiting from the 5% that still remains in every single offer that they put to us. So there's a pay rise there for the management, but our members on the lower wages, it's 5% of nothing is nothing.
Yeah, it's really strange why they're doing it, really. There must be an ulterior motive behind it.
I mean, it's an assumption that many on the picket line have had. We're not sure if there is an ulterior motive, but it does look as though there could be.
Or they're relying on the goodwill of everybody that works here as well.
Well, I think part of the issue is I don't think the management team really understand what our members do. I mean, there's the stables here with the horses and the mine guides. One of their roles that is part of the goodwill to the site is to get rid of the horse manure. That's been up there since the 20th of August. No one's emptied it. And apparently there was moans from the museum management that they're going to have to get a contractor in to do it now, because they didn't realise that was just another of the things that our members do.
That kind of thing comes out, doesn't it?
Yeah.
When people take industrial action, you find out what actually people do in addition to what's really as part of the job, isn't it? Really?
I mean, there's a lot of goodwill here. You've heard from one of the fitters, but there's also electricians who work here. A lot of the electrical work on site has been done by the mine guides for £12.80 an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't get an electrician to come do your house for
no.
Not in a month or Sunday. So there's just so much that our members do that's above and beyond their contracts that we just don't think the museum appreciates.
Can I just ask you what you think about the benefits are of joining a union then?
I think there's a lot of benefits. It's protection in it. I look at it like our forefathers fought hard and will have suffered a lot to form unions. Unions weren't allowed, rather, going back to today. And I think it's something we should, it protects you. There's a lot of protection in it. Not just for pay and things like that, but for your conditions. And I think it'd be a sorry state if we had no unions. I listen to these people who work at like Amazon and these sort of places where they have to work 0 hour contracts, where they've no rights, and it just proves, I know they're not happy in their work, are they? Because there's no union. So I think union representation is very, very important. And it saddens me in a way when people come to our picket line, they don't really know what a picket line is. They think it's an exhibition. We've had people come in and they don't know what a union is, and that's going back from Thatcher's days, isn't it? Jeez. That were the big strike were all about. It wasn't about really about pit closing. It wasn't about uneconomic pits. It was about smashing unions. Let's smash NUM, which was the strongest union at the time. Then everybody will fall in line. And then we can have a 0 hour contracts, and we can make more money out of working class and workers. And that's where state we're in now.
Yeah, and that's what happened, isn't it? When they brought the laws into
that's right
to curb the union's power. Yeah,
that's correct. So. And I know what it's been like for these lads, our union officials, for them to get a strike organised. You know, they're jumping through hoops. You know, we're into this ballot and this.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it's not easy to get a strike mandate. And that they were brought in, weren't they, all these laws
Yeah,
to
yeah.
defeat the union.
Yeah, the 50% ballot. Yeah, and then
That's right.
participation rate. Yeah.
So for me, union is very, very important, and I think everybody should join a union. Wish the TUC were a bit stronger. I wish they'd, you know, I just think they've gone pretty weak. So
Yeah, we had a guy on the podcast called Paul Embury, and he's a firefighter, and he talks about the unions are not as strong as they used to be because they're more focused on other things rather than the traditional things. What they used to do, try and protect workers.
yeah. And I've got to say, Unison, I think they've represented us great. I can't knock them for what they've done. I'm not saying that because he stood over there. But I think they've been great.
Yeah,
quite fair. And I know there's a lot of, you know, they don't like Unison, do they? I know they don't, but I think they've represented as well and fair as well. So there we go.
Well, I've always been in a union, and I would never, even when I went out into the gas industry and worked for a firm, I joined a union simply because of today's day and age. Somebody can say you've done something, said something, and you need that protection, especially if you're dealing with Joe Public, because it's not only can your bosses say you've said or done something wrong, Joe Public can say you've said and done something wrong, and then you've got to defend yourself. You'd lose your house, wouldn't you? You're skinned. So that is one big reason. But I think togetherness, you know, everybody together, and you get more done.
that solidarity. Yeah,
Get more done.